Ian, that Yugi
Oh,
as an
this is great.
officer is part of a greater establishment.
Well,
He's
of
not
course. No,
the
Flash, you're right.
individual
You're
being a
right.
land.
And Flash, we can engage on this if you want to. You're 100% right. Yugi is part of a greater organization, right? But what I did is I took this example to the absolute reductio of, hey, you don't have backup, right? You don't have your radio. You are separated from your greater organization. So now it is Yugi, the police officer, versus a vigilante. And this
Okay, then let me.
vigilante, hold
All right,
on.
all right.
This vigilante has more bullets than you, and you just shot your last bullet. And Yugi just said, "Well, no, my authority doesn't dissipate just because I don't have the ability to enforce it." Game
Okay,
over.
No,
That's
that
it.
no,
It's
that's not
done.
what I said.
wait a minute.
No,
Let
that's
me
a straw
It's
man.
respond. Let me
That's a
over,
respond.
straw man.
bro.
Yugi, would you be willing to
That was
concede
a
that
straw man.
even though you're part of an organization that has authority, you as an individual would lose your ability in that scenario to exert your authority?
No, that doesn't stop it. I
It's
don't have to stop
over.
there. Just because
He
I
agreed
ran out of
again.
bullets
He
doesn't mean
agreed
that yeah, he
again.
still has to talk over. Shut up, bro. All right, just because I lost my bullets doesn't mean that I can't. All of a sudden, I can't stop exerting my authority. Of course, that's the stupidity that he
No,
keeps
no, no,
spewing.
no,
He thinks that
Yugi,
like
like,
he
There
thinks
it
that
slow
authority
is.
down,
means that
slow
yeah,
down,
there it is.
Yugi. Let's slow it down. I'm
The- he-
saying you as an individual, right, in this one-on-one scenario, if you're out of bullets, how would you go about enforcing that authority?
Well, there's a lot of ways you can go about things. I don't have to sit there. I can go back, reestablish, and then go back to get, more resources, more backup, and continue to enforce my authority
But
that I will always be able to enforce.
but
Doesn't
his
dissipate just
scenario
because I
is
ran out of
trying to
bullets. That's
trick
what's
you in
stupid.
that. His scenario is trying to like isolate in a vacuum. I know what he's doing,
This
right?
is great.
You got to be willing to say like if your back was against the wall and you're out of bullets and he's got a gun pointed at you, like what would you do in that scenario?
There's a lot of things I could do.
Yeah, this is very good. So then, Yugi, let's ask because you are the one with more experience than me. So let me ask you the question instead of assuming. Okay. So let's say you guys are 1v1 and you just ran out of bullets, right? You don't have your radio. And this guy now has you at gunpoint and he has 5 bullets in his magazine and you have zero, right? Your gun is on the ground. Okay. Do you still have the authority of a police officer in that situation?
I can exert whatever force I can. Yes,
You still have the authority, correct?
absolutely.
There it is. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. It's over. It's done.
Let, let,
I
let me
appreciate
let
it.
me
Prove anything.
It's been
hold on.
real.
Let
God
me
bless you all.
re-ask the question to Pedro. Okay, Pedro, if you were in Yugi's situation, would you be able to exert your authority over the criminal?
So am I at gunpoint and I'm under like
Yeah,
duress
you
at
have
that
no
moment?
bullets left. He's pointing a loaded gun at you, and you
Oh, then he
can't
has
fall
authority over
back.
me in that moment. Yeah.
Then he
Hey, let me jump in here real quick.
has authority
Let me,
over.
let me jump in here real quick. So both you and I have a gun. Both you and I have
No
bullets. We have
shit.
no.
It's Crim.
We
It's
have
Crim.
equal
It's
authority,
Crim.
or is your authority granted to you as a police officer?
Wait, Crim. 1 second. I've been waiting to say this to you for the whole long time. Welcome back to the lackluster channel, baby.
Welcome back,
That's
Crim.
right, bro.
Welcome
That's
back,
right. So
Crim.
yeah, to answer the question, if you and I both have a gun, you and I both have a bullet or have bullets, do we both have equal authority, or do you as a police officer have authority that's been granted to you that I don't have?
This is great.
Answer the question, Yugi. Answer the question.
Whoever has the better aim has better authority in that.
Oh my
No,
gosh. This is
no.
great.
That's retarded. That's retarded. So if his authority isn't bound in his force, i.e. the gun and bullets, it's bound in something else,
Yes.
which
Yes,
would be
Crim.
the granting of the government
Hold
to him as a police officer. You got the
Hold on
retarded.
one
Yes.
second.
Yes,
Hold on one
Crim.
second. Hold on one second. Hold on
So-
one
Oh, go
second.
ahead,
Hold on one
Yugi.
second.
Go ahead,
Let me ask a
Yugi.
question.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Let me
Yugi.
ask a
Hold on,
question.
hold on. Let's listen to Yugi. Go ahead, Yugi.
Hold on. Let me ask a question to Pedro.
Answer my
Pedro, do you
question. Don't
relax,
ask the
dude?
question. Answer the question.
Yo,
You and I both
I'm
have a
not.
gun. You and I both
Yo,
have bullets. Do we have equal authority, or
Here
do you,
we
as a police
go.
officer, have
yo,
authority
can
granted
you
to you
like,
from
can
something
you
else?
like stop talking for a second? Yo, Pedro, are you
I
there, bro?
can just answer the question.
Yo,
Okay, I
Crim
don't
is
gotta answer your
back,
question. Yo,
baby.
Pedro, are you there?
No,
Let's
answer the
go.
question, Yugi. Stop running.
I'm here. One
Because you just
second.
recognize that your
running.
force isn't granted, or that your force isn't
Yo,
granting
will-
the.
Yo,
It's something
shut
outside
up.
of.
Pedro, are you there?
Cry
Yo,
Yeah, I'm
about it,
here.
dude.
Krim is
Pedro, do
back
you?
in full force. Oh my god.
Okay, anyway.
I didn't get wrecked, bro.
Oh my goodness, we're happy. All right,
Just
Pedro,
answer
are
the
you there?
questions. And if you act
You're
under
not there?
color of law, do you actually have authority, or have you just made
Oh,
up authority?
dude, can you like stop yapping?
Here it
Pedro
is,
there?
dude.
I'm not yapping. I'm destroying your position over and over and over
What
again, and you're
position?
running from it.
Yo, Krim,
Dude,
may
dude,
God
this-
bless Krim. This is amazing. This is perfect.
Amen. Okay, so let me ask both you guys, since you seem to understand
No, no,
Pedro's
no.
argument
Don't
better than
ask
I
the
do.
question. Answer the question that I asked you.
Okay, anyway,
Don't run
I'm gonna
from
ask
it.
anyway. So is
Yeah, you're
Pedro's
running.
position?
You're a coward.
Okay, anyway, I don't care. Anyway, is Pedro's
That's why you.
position?
That's why you have a
I
badge.
don't
Because
care.
you're a
Yo,
coward.
what is this VC, bro? Is Pedro's argument that it's logistical? Like authority is logistical. It depends on what you have.
No. So here's the idea. Yeah, here's the idea,
That's the
Yugi.
argument.
Can I say?
So
Idiot was
Can I-
shut up.
so hold on. Let me say something to you,
Well, can I-
Yugi.
can I
Yeah,
get
you
my own
can, right?
position?
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about you right now, Pedro. It's okay. You can. So one second, one second, Pedro. Pedro, just one second. Just 1 second. 1 second. I have something to say. So Yugi,
All right,
so
I am now
so
using
hold
my
on.
authority.
Hold on. Just give me a
Thank
second.
you. Thank
Oh
you.
my god, dude.
And that was
Perfect.
granted to you. It was granted to you to have that type of force,
Wait a
right?
minute, hold on. I'm going to use my
This is
authority.
crazy.
All right, so Pedro, with my physical force here, right, suppression, I'm
Yes.
going to permit you to speak.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I kind of want to have the back and forth with Krim. So can you unmute Krim? Because I think Krim is
Yo.
actually on my side.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
So, real
me-
quick, Pedro, is your
me-
position that it's authority's logistical? It depends on like how much force you
Yugi,
have.
stop asking questions and answer the question that I asked you. If you don't
I'll
want
say
to do
so.
it, just let Pedro engage.
Who is this?
Yeah,
Who's
I'll say-
to me right now?
I am your daddy. I'm your daddy.
Okay, I don't care who you are. I'm not talking to you. Shut up, Pedro.
Yeah.
I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Is your position that it's logistical? I just want to make sure.
No.
Okay, there you go. All right, so this dude can like stop yapping. Now you can talk to him if you want.
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
talking to
no.
him.
So,
Okay,
so you're
Perfect.
this
Talk
is
about
how
you.
low IQ you are.
Who are you talking to, bro? Shut your
Let me
mouth.
respond to that for just a second, Pedro. Let me respond to that. So I never
Yeah.
made the claim that a gun equals logistics. The gun is just equated to some type of force, which is what you guys were talking about before I got in here. Because
Right.
he was saying that if you have no bullets, you have no more force.
Don't say what
Therefore,
I
you have
said.
no more authority.
I was just answering a question. I didn't say nothing.
Well, Krim, here, just talk to me, Krim, because honestly, me and you, given our position on how we have been watching Lackluster, we will completely agree. It just
I don't
takes
think
a
we will.
couple questions.
I don't
Okay,
think we
so Krim, first question, right? It's not a trap. Can you name a single covenant on Earth that does not entail consequences?
It depends on how you're going to define covenant and what you'll define as a consequence.
Yeah, a covenant would be an agreement between two parties. I think you would agree that there is some kind of will or contract that inadvertently
Yeah,
you're a part of just by being born in America, right?
That's fine.
Like
I'll
you're
grant
under
that. How are you defining consequence now? Because like a
Okay.
marriage could be an agreement
like
between man and woman, but there's no consequence in breaking that.
well,
According
let's see.
to the state.
Yeah, but ultimately, you would say that before God, that's a covenant that also has God involved. He would be the ultimate one. If there was no consequences dealt for, say, a divorce out here on Earth, he would deal with it in heaven, right?
Authority with God's authority, because I think that's going to be a false equivalency.
No, I'm not. I'm saying ultimately that covenant, the consequences would just be dealt out by God, if not here on Earth, right?
Right, but that's going to get us away from it's going to get us back to this force equals authority, because you're saying that the ability to hand out those consequences is what grants the authority. And that's what I'm rejecting, which is why I asked the question to Yugi,
Right.
saying, if you and I both have a gun, do we have equal authority, or do you have an extra authority that was granted to you? Well, nobody needs to grant God authority. God's authority,
I would say,
God's authority is part of his nature. It's within his nature.
Right, and I'm trying to point out something
You're
that I'm,
making
I'm trying to point. I'm just trying to point out
right.
something very pivotal here. It's very pivotal.
You're not. You're making a false equivalency fallacy.
Okay, yo, Pedro, real quick.
Oh,
Let me ask a clarifying question to Pedro again. Pedro.
Why
All right.
can't you just
okay.
answer the question, Yugi?
Anyway, I'm asking Pedro. I don't know if you
Yeah,
speak
I know,
English.
and I
Pedro. I
asked
can say it to you in
Yugi a
Spanish.
question.
Estoy preguntando a Pedro. Thank you. All right. So
Yeah,
Pedro,
except I asked you a
is it?
question, Yugi, that
Estoy
you're running
estoy
from. But you
preguntando a
keep wanting to jump back
Pedro.
in the conversation after
Oh,
running from my question.
I don't
So
care for
Pedro
your
and I were
question.
trying to
I don't
engage,
care.
and
I
then you
literally don't
decided you
care.
wanted to. Then you wanted to
I'm asking.
interrupt.
He
If
still
you're going
keeps
to interrupt,
yapping.
just interrupt with the answer.
Pedro, I want to
I'm
ask
not
you a
yapping. I'm
clarifying
speaking
question
very
to
directly.
Pedro.
You're the one that's trying to yap.
I'm asking a
Hey,
clarifying question
hey,
to Pedro.
Why do you need
yeah.
to clarify anything? You're just an audience
Pedro.
member at this point. You're not engaged in the
Pedro.
conversation. You're just a
Okay.
listener, an observer, a bystander.
Okay.
Let Pedro
Congratulations. That's
engage
good.
with you.
You have the ability to observe things. Okay.
Well, Krim, you know me. I'll be able to just give you a strict yes or no, and I can move back over
Yeah,
to you. Okay, Krim?
perfect. Go ahead. I'll
Okay,
let you entertain. I'll let you entertain the coward.
I don't care what you think. Anyway, so Pedro, so look, it wasn't the premise originally, it's the ability to set in force. Wouldn't even under the circumstance that was given earlier, that person doesn't have even the
yeah,
authority to enact said force anyway?
Wait.
yes,
Authority,
you're
but you just
completely,
said the ability
Okay,
correct.
exactly.
to
So
enact that force.
Krim,
Well,
shut
well,
up.
well,
Shut
yeah,
up.
but Krim,
Except you just changed your
Krim,
words.
okay, I
Krim,
gave
You
you,
shut
just
up.
asserted.
well,
You just
you,
asserted
Krim,
authority
shut up.
there. You're
well,
being
Yugi, I
circular.
gave you your Yugi, I gave you your yes. Let me clarify to Krim because Krim did
Yeah.
get here late, and he's been fed false information by Plus on what the actual position is.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
to show you the position, uh, Krim, it's very simple. Definitionally, authority is the potency to enact the necessary force or violence to uphold a contract, will, or covenant between a group, party, or society of people. That's just the definition we're going after for what authority
Exactly.
is.
So they're like
You,
laughing
you,
like,
you,
"Oh,
you
this is
Yeah, I don't
great,
think I
this is
grant
great."
that.
It's like obviously
I
he
don't.
didn't
I don't
really
grant
have
that.
the potency to enact any
you
force
don't
to
have
begin
to.
with.
Well, you don't have to. You don't
Well,
have to grant it, but you don't
well,
have
in
to
order
grant it.
for
Let
us
me
to have a
finish.
conversation,
Just let
in
me
order
finish.
for us to have a conversation, you and I are going to have to agree on the terms and the definitions, right? So if
Well,
I don't grant
well,
your definition, you're going to have to provide an
let me
argument for it.
finish. Just yeah, of course. Just let me finish. I was trying to give you that just now. In terms of the right? People say it's according to who you are because you have some kind of positional right? Me and you would both look at each
No.
other and say that the police officer who is in the moment the authority, he may be curb stomping someone into the curb for all the wrong reasons. He may be definitionally incorrect, but in
Yeah,
point of
because
fact, because he has the necessary force or violence to, he can still just beat the shit out of that person and send him to jail, can't they?
no. Actually, he can't. Well, I guess he could take him to jail, but then that's going to be overturned, thus nullifying his authority. So authority
Well,
doesn't.
watch
Hold
this.
on, listen,
You just said it.
Pedro. I'm trying to respond to you. I'm trying to
But you
respond to
just
you.
appealed to
I'm
another
trying to
authority,
respond to you.
though.
No, I'm trying to
Yeah.
respond to you.
Yeah. Okay.
He could, hold on, stop. He could take them to jail, but that doesn't mean he has the authority to. In fact, that's proven when it's overturned and the person's been released and he loses qualified immunity and gets sued.
Right.
This thing called
Right.
excessive force. So he doesn't actually have the authority to use the force that he's having. So authority can't be tied up with force. And I demonstrated that 2 seconds after I joined the room and I asked you, or Yugi, if you and I both have a gun, and we both have bullets, do we have equal authority, or have you been granted authority by another body, such as the government? And he failed to answer that question, and you thought you and I would agree on this, and that's why you just said a police officer could curb stomp somebody.
Right.
But that's not where his authority lies, because he's gone
Oh,
outside
but
of his
watch this.
authority.
Yeah.
Stop, I'm answering you. He's acted under the color of law, which means he has no authority to do what he's doing,
Right.
and so it's nullified. There you go. Force does
Right.
not equal authority. The ability to enact
Right.
force does not equal authority. Authority is granted to you if we're on a person-to-person level, or it is in the nature or the essence of God, which is what we're
Right.
trying to.
Use the courtroom analogy, Pedro, phase two.
Well, here, I just want to stick with this point really quick right here. The problem is, Krim, the guy that night still had to do whatever the officer told him to. And in point of fact, the guy could have been arguing with the police officer and gave him, the penal code, constitutional law, court cases. He could have gave him the whole gambit to actually justify why he's innocent. But in the moments before he got to appeal to a higher authority above that cop in that moment, he did whatever the cop said. And the moment he tried not to do that,
I'll prove it wrong.
I'll prove it wrong. Just let me
This is
finish.
stupid. This is stupid.
Stop gish galloping and I'll
finish.
respond. No, you did finish. You're trying to go on to another point. I'll just respond to that point then. No, Pedro, stop.
I'm just trying to
Pedro.
finish. I let you finish, right?
No, Pedro, you're gish galloping. So let me respond to what you just said. So
Okay, yeah.
in that same example, there's an officer in the state of Florida that tried to arrest a man wrongfully.
Yeah.
That man fought back and killed the officer. Guess what? He didn't get charged because he was defending himself. He met force with force, and he didn't have to listen to what that cop was trying to say and arrest him. So you're just wrong again, Pedro. He did kill the cop, yeah.
Okay, so then that's a moment where the actual authority, that would be a perfect example because we've talked about that before, where
But the
in
cop
point of
wasn't the
fact,
authority.
in point of fact, the person who killed the cop, that was the authority in the moment because he was able to enforce the necessary force or violence to uphold.
Okay, so
now
let's see if that carries over. Now let's see if that carries over, Pedro. If a criminal kills a police officer, did he have the authority to
Can I finish? Do you mind if I finish?
Pedro? You did finish.
No, I did it.
Now you're deciding to try to
repeat.
repeat.
Good at that.
Go on to another point.
Okay,
And so I'm going to take what you just said and we'll examine
talk,
it.
dude.
You're trying to gish gallop. You're trying to gish gallop. So let me just respond.
I'm not trying to gish gallop. I'm just trying to point out something pivotal here.
Let me respond to the point you just made. You said that the man that killed the cop had the authority. Well, let's carry that over to someone who we agree is a criminal who kills the cop. Did that criminal have the authority to do that? Well, no.
Yeah, in that moment, yeah.
No,
authority doesn't care about right or wrong. Yeah.
Yes, but he's not talking about good or bad authority. That's what he doesn't want to move to. Of course,
authority doesn't care about right or wrong.
Yeah, but you have a self-authority. That's not that deep. Like, I have authority to end my life.
So if a man,
tell that to the city fathers of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Tell that to the city fathers of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Tell that to them. Tell them about
we need
right
to
or
know
wrong.
if it's a good or bad. We need to move on besides like a basic. Oh, I have a self-authority to punch someone in the head.
Okay, nobody cares, dude. Nobody cares.
That's what he's talking about. You haven't been here.
Yeah, self-appoint. No, he doesn't think. He
you're
doesn't
actually
think
fucking
that
wrong because a criminal has a self-authority to fucking kill someone.
EK, stop. He doesn't believe in hyphenated authority. He just says authority is. So in that moment, force equals authority. And so I'm going to ask the question now. So if EK was strong enough to overpower a woman and have sex with her unwillingly, so he raped. Does he have the authority to do that?
Yes, he would have authority over in that moment.
So the woman,
authority over my body.
Because EK has the authority over that woman to do the act that he did, the woman has no, right?
Yeah. Yes. Can I respond in full, please?
Okay. There's no point in having the conversation because if you say yes, the woman has no right to complain because EK has the authority to rape her because he has force over her.
She can complain all she wants.
He's not trying to talk about good.
Look, Krim. Let me just respond in full, please. It's not that hard.
Stop begging him for permission to speak. Just say what you're going to say.
Thank you. Just like the cop.
You're making me cringe over here doing that.
No worries. Just like the cop. Yeah. Just like the cop beating the shit out of the guy could be complaining all the fuck he wants. Cop's gonna get what he wants at the end of the day at that night. Just like the guy who killed the cop can be begging for his life, but the guy who's gonna kill him in Florida said fuck you. You were about to kill me.
Okay.
It's just the same. It's just the same as in Desert Storm, where there was the authority of the Iraqi army at one point, and then there fucking wasn't because we blew their shit apart. They can complain all they want.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Is authority something that just comes and goes then? So you can have authority 1 second, you don't have authority the next second?
Correct. Yeah.
What
Depending
is
on
it?
depending on
What is it
it's
that
depending
removes
on your
authority?
it's dependent on your ability, your potency. Like I said in the definition, to enact a necessary, keyword there is necessary, force or violence to uphold that covenant, that will, that contract. In some situations, your own dignity, that nation, against something, whether it be inside or outside.
So
Like if you
No
believe,
one gets. You can complain all the fuck you want. You can complain all the fuck you want
you don't
about.
understand the
Oh
argument.
no! Oh no! This isn't right. Oh no! Bend the fuck. It's gonna be a. It's gonna be a moment whether it's defend yourself, bend the fuck over, or get the fuck out.
Dude, go to the courtroom analogy. You're just spinning your wheels.
Okay. So I think the courtroom analogy will help this a lot. Krim, say you're in court and there is a judgment against you. Well, not you, some other person, and there is no bailiff, there's no police officers to actually enforce what the judge has now deemed you guilty of and whatever sentence is supposed to be doled out. What is separating the judge from a glorified therapist giving you recommendations and an actual authority figure in that moment?
jurisdiction. So again, it wouldn't be force. It would be something that grants that authority to them. And in the case of a courtroom, it would be or would not be jurisdiction. So I'll use your analogy here. The courtroom. We have a judge in Virginia, a family court judge presiding over a divorce, left the courtroom, decided to hold the man's house so that she could search the man's house to make sure that everything that was supposed to be given to the wife was given to the wife. She assumed that she had this authority, but she didn't have jurisdiction which granted it to her. And so she lost qualified immunity and she lost the bar. She was disbarred. So again, your analogy here, just saying that the judge sitting in that seat can apply force to you, and so they're going to be higher than some counselor that just gives you a suggestion. You think that it isn't the force because this judge applied force, went into this home, and then did whatever she wanted, but she had no jurisdiction, so she got her mouth slapped, right? And she's no longer a judge. So it has nothing to do with the ability to apply force. It has everything to do with what has been the authority that is granted. And in this case, in the court, it would be jurisdiction. So once again, you're trying to use examples and analogies that you know nothing about, law or court practices and procedure.
So, so
Get
you're
wrecked.
saying there doesn't. So you're saying that there doesn't have to be an actual bailiff or police officer there to say in the situation where you're deemed that person was deemed guilty, and
No,
for instance they're sentenced to 50 years in prison, they're just going to
no.
walk in the prison. There's no bailiff or police
Well, no,
necessary.
no. The person could leave, but that sentence has been put down, put before them.
Yeah, who
They're still
enforces it?
required to. Well, men do. Men enforce that.
What
The
kind of
judge
There's no
didn't. The judge stopped.
there's no police or
So in
bailiff.
this case, the judge listened. When he walks out the door, some man is going to apprehend him, right? And so it's not the judge who just laid down that conviction and that sentence. It's a man
Okay.
of some
Yeah,
type.
yeah. Is that man a police officer or bailiff who will have the ability to
Did you
subdue him
did you
and
not just
take him to
listen?
prison?
Well, but then that would be the bailiff or the police officer that applied the force, not the judge. And you said the authority was with the
Well,
judge to lay out that
that's why.
sentence. So we've just used this example to
Well,
disprove your
that's
point. Getting
why.
back
I hate this.
No,
to you, though,
but you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me, Krim.
He's
I'm
not
saying
really.
the the
I
the,
did
the
listen to you.
gavel the
The
gavel
judge,
has been
listen,
struck. No,
right?
no, no,
The
no.
judge
Let me
applied a
finish.
sentence.
Okay, dude. The judge applied the sentence. There's no police. There's no bailiff. Who the fuck is
No,
enforcing the sentence?
well, it doesn't matter if it's enforced or not. The judge had the authority. Listen, I'm
Is he just gonna
responding to
walk in
you. I'm
jail?
responding to you. I'm responding to
Is
you.
he gonna walk into jail? What the fuck is he gonna do, Krim?
He's gonna
I,
put
I,
himself in
I'm
there with his
listen,
self-authority.
listen. I'm answering your analogy. So the judge
Okay.
had the authority to lay out the sentence, and if the judge doesn't enact force, someone else has to. So now you're saying that the sentence is
Yeah.
actually, listen, dude, you're saying that the police officer, the bailiff is actually the one that has the authority to apply the sentence. So what's the judge?
No, I'm asking
Why is
you
the
in
judge there?
absence.
Why is the
That's
judge
not what I'm
there?
asking you.
Why is the
That's
judge
not what I'm
there?
asking you.
Because people
That's
have
not what I'm
granted.
asking you.
Here, I'll answer because you can't. Just calm
That's
calm
not what
down,
I'm
Pedro.
asking you.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Pedro,
perfectly
calm
calm.
down.
I'm
I
trying to
know
get
I'm
this
tearing up your
answer for
analogy
you.
and it's hurting your feelings. It's causing you to spurg and cope. Just calm down, dude. We can have better conversations, I assure you. So the
Okay.
authority to
So
lay out the sentence. No, not continue talking. I said listen. So the judge
okay.
has the authority, which has been granted.
Okay. The question is, who enforces the sentence? Yeah, she said, I sentence you to jail for 50
And it's
years.
actually stop. So your example suggests that the bailiff or the sheriff actually has the authority to
Yes.
lay out that sentence. You're absolutely wrong. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a need for judges.
Look,
Why do we have
I'm
judges?
saying this. Look, I'm
And,
saying
and
this.
Pedro,
Why do we have
Pedro,
judges,
hold on,
Pedro?
Pedro,
Answer the question.
you're losing
Answer
us.
that question, and then
Losing
I'll listen to your response. Why do we have
You have,
judges? If it requires the bailiff or the
that's
sheriff.
what I'm saying. Okay, I'm just gonna talk through you. The
Answer my
judge
question, and
says
then
you
I'll
have
mute up,
50
and then you can
years in
answer,
prison.
or
You
you
have
can talk.
50 years in prison. There is no bailiff and no police officers to actually cuff him and take him into the fucking prison. How is it the sentence going to be carried out?
Whether it gets carried out or not, the judge has the authority to make that sentence.
Oh
So listen, stop bugging. So now I'm going to ask.
Yeah, Pedro, slow down.
Let
Ask
him
him,
sprig. It's funny.
Pedro, slow down. Ask him
Yeah.
whose authority is the bailiff acting on? His own authority or a higher authority in the judge?
They all have authority, technically.
All right, so let
Can
me
you
just
answer that?
because Flash is being an unfair moderator. So I'll address this again.
Am I using authority?
Well, no, you're not using authority.
Yes.
You're using a mute button.
Come your way
So
off.
anyway, EK, stop. Nobody cares what you think. You think you're a woman. That disqualifies you from like normal rational thought and debate. Goodbye,
Yeah.
sir.
All right, Adderall brain.
Why is there a judge if it is the case in your example that the bailiff actually has the authority?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
And you and Flash are on two different pages. Flash just laid out the cards. The bailiff is acting under the judge's authority to apply that force. Your point is that without the bailiff, there is no authority, which means that we can
Correct.
just remove the judge and the bailiff can pronounce the 50-year sentence, forced to put him in jail. You and Flash aren't on the same page.
Well,
Flash is too
can you
stupid to
answer?
figure that out, though. And so are
Okay,
you,
but
quite frankly.
No.
okay. Well, you can call me step out of mine. My question stands. If in point of fact there's no one there to enforce the sentence, the judge can bang their gavel all they want. They have no authority.
No, they do have authority. The authority to do so has been granted to them, we'll just say by the state.
Who
Depending on what
carries it out? Who's the enforcement arm?
that doesn't matter.
Okay,
The
so you can have
enforcement
an
is gonna be
authority.
men.
So you can have
So
authority without an enforcement arm?
You guys are all messed up on this.
Yeah, you can.
Thank you. Okay. That's where that makes no sense to me, because in fact, if there's no one actually carrying out the sentence and I choose not to say it's me, I'm not walking in the fucking jail on my own. I hope you know that.
Right on.
Someone
No, I
has to
wouldn't
take me.
But even though the
I
judges
get you. I
doesn't
get
show
you.
up, Pedro, they still
But
have
if your point is gonna hold,
So
let me
it's
respond to
a
you,
glorified
Pedro.
therapist just telling me what I need to do, and I'm telling her no.
Okay. But what you're saying is that the bailiff is the one that has the authority to
Correct. Yeah.
carry out. Okay, so why do we have judges? You never answered that question.
Because the enforcement arm acknowledges them. That's it. That's all it is. They're acknowledging them.
Thank you. So then authority doesn't require, so force doesn't equal authority. Acknowledgement gives authority. But you don't really want to say that because people, no, Pedro, you don't want to say that. You just
They
shot
all
yourself
have
in the face,
authority.
dude.
Well,
Types
I'm
of
trying to
okay?
talk. I'm trying to talk.
Let
You
me
won't let me.
explain to you how
You're
you
just
just shot
you're the
yourself in
only
the
one
face.
talking.
Is free will over the
No,
body.
you're talking Vinny, I'm trying to respond to you. So if
No,
acknowledgement,
but you just heard me say yeah when I'm not saying yes to your question. I'm trying to say yeah, let me deal with that, and you won't shut the fuck up for 5 seconds.
I'm trying to respond to you, Pedro. You got to
Fuck,
calm
shit,
down.
poopy.
So you just said that
Why can't I
acknowledgement.
not answer? Why can I not
You
answer?
just said
Let
It's
him
incredible.
answer, motherfucker.
you did. So you just said
No,
that
I didn't give you an answer. I just
Pedro,
said yeah.
calm
I don't give a
down.
shit about that. That's
Calm
not the
down.
point.
So now you're going to go back on what you just said. So the bailiff
I'm not,
acknowledges
dude.
the
You didn't
authority
get
of
a
the
yeah.
judge.
You didn't get a yes or no just now. I hope
Pedro,
you know that. I'm
calm
trying
down.
to tell you.
Calm down.
I'm perfectly, dude. I'm perfectly calm. I know what I'm talking about right now.
You're perfectly
You're
calm
you're
and
you're
you'd be
you're
quiet.
you're
So the
telling
bailiff,
people right
You
now.
guys-
In fact, we don't need police.
bailiff
People will just walk into
Pedro,
jail
you're
on their
giving
own.
away your authority right now, Pedro.
the bailiff acknowledges the authority of the judge, so he carries out the sentence. So you don't really want to say that, because if someone doesn't acknowledge the authority of God, does God still have authority? Well, by your logic, no, God wouldn't, because it requires acknowledgement. Thank you.
No, that's not what I was trying to say. See, this is the problem with you. You're putting words in my mouth. I never said that.
Pedro, I promise you, I wouldn't put anything in your mouth.
I disagree. I disagree that it's actually just acknowledgement. That's it.
But you
How about
no.
that?
You're contradicting yourself, because when I said, why do we have judges if the bailiff is the one that can carry out the sentence, the one that has the authority? You said no. The bailiff acknowledges the authority of the judge, which is why he can carry that out.
Okay, and I'm trying to point out what's a judge without an enforcement arm.
That's irrelevant. We're talking about where authority comes from.
No, what the? Yes, and I'm trying to tell you right now, look, if you have a judge who tells somebody you have 50 years in prison, and in the absence of an enforcement arm, they're just going to flip that judge the bird and treat them like a glorified therapist and be about their day.
Let's switch over to the actual topic, which would be God's authority. So
Human
yes,
justice
God
isn't
has the
analogous
authority.
with God's justice.
Oh my gosh. Can
Okay.
this person just be quiet?
I have
So,
authority
so
to kill
God has
myself.
authority, yes? God tells you to do something, you don't do it. He can enforce it and make you do it. He can make Jonah and then go to the Ninevites. He can. But
Hey, Jacob.
if it is the case
What's
that
up, brother?
somebody
Good to see you
disagrees,
here. I'm on the phone. I'll get
somebody
off in like
doesn't
5 minutes.
acknowledge the authority of God, they reject his commandments, God isn't making them obey. He punishes them for not obeying, but they still didn't obey.
Because they have a
So does he have the authority to
right?
make someone obey or not? He just has the authority to punish them for not obeying, right?
Okay,
Yeah, but-
I don't know. So I don't know what that has to do with what I'm trying to point out to you, but I gotta go. I will be back, Krim. We will continue this.
Hey, that's fine.
We
I
will
got to
be-
put the kids in bed. God bless.
I
Pedro.
love you, man. Love
I
you.
love you too, bro. Love you too.
Me and
Okay, so let me just
sounded
sub in here
spirited.
for a second. So the idea is, and Krim, I don't know if you can hear me, but the idea is just simply this: that Pedro is essentially saying that power and authority are the same thing, and they just aren't. Right? Your ability to enforce authority is not the equivalent of authority. This is his blunder. So this is why it's okay. 1 second, EK. This is why, in his worldview, the police officer loses authority the second he runs out of bullets, right? Or the woman loses authority like over her own body the second a man can overpower her and rape her or something. It's like this is ridiculous. Like it's not.
Yeah,
it's insane.
I heard you. I lagged out though. So he's not just saying that power equals authority. That's what he was saying at the beginning. But then you'll notice that that authority requires an enforcement arm, and he also put in there that it requires acknowledgement of the authority, and that's going to cause him that's going to cause his entire view to fall to pieces, because what he wants to do is backtrack all to God, and that doesn't work, because if someone doesn't acknowledge the authority of God, God still has authority. Now, Pedro's going to say yes, but if you don't acknowledge it, if they still have the enforcement arm, they still have authority. But God's not enforcing or forcing someone to obey. He will punish someone for not obeying. But that's not Pedro's whole point here. So he's going to have to come up with a different argument.
Okay.
Well, I think
Let
this
me- let
gets
me
real
see.
interesting in like the pre-Trinity or the pre-creation dynamics,
Why did you
because
say pre-Trinity?
no, not pre-Trinity, pre-creation, because
Yeah,
The,
I've heard
the
your argument on that.
yeah. So it's just it's real weird because I don't know if he
Yeah.
genuinely thinks that like the father is forcing the son to like
Yeah,
somehow it's
subordinationism
like
is what he's
weird.
going to end up falling into.
Right,
Right,
right.
because what he's saying, if there's nothing to acknowledge the authority, or if there's no enforcement arm, or no force, then there is no authority. So that entails that God didn't have authority prior to creation. Fall into a necessitarian view of God. So
Yes,
creation is necessary, and God
it
depends
is.
on creation in order to have authority. Now, Flash is going to try and disagree with that, but that's the entailment of the position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I simply would say, okay, I think Pedro was failing to clarify what his position is. But when we
Well,
talk
you
about,
and
for
Pedro don't
example,
have the same position.
well, okay,
You
slightly.
guys are all talking past each other, but I can't speak.
No, EK, you're just delusional. Nobody's
Okay.
talking past
Okay.
each other.
You
We are
realize
talking
I
fast,
have
and we are talking
self-authority,
over each other.
right?
No, stop.
To
We
do
are all
something.
talking
I don't
over each
actually
other.
lose the
Nobody's
will, the
talking past
power.
each other. We're talking fast,
Okay.
but all of us are able to keep up with each other's arguments. You're not,
Okay.
because you're probably on some gummies, and you're also
That's
suffering from a
true.
lot of mental issues.
Okay.
So
Do
just like
you have
mute yourself,
power in your will to
mute
like
yourself,
do something, like to pick up
mute
a
yourself.
cup?
Yeah, but does that mean I have authority to pick up the cup?
Yes, it's called the self-authority.
No, dummy. What if the cup doesn't belong to me?
All right,
If I pick up the cup, I have now I've that's called theft. So I
all
don't
right.
have this authority. That you guys are goofy.
I'm
Go ahead,
doing
Flash.
this temporarily on Hypatia just to get through this real quick, okay? And then I'm going to turn the mic back over.
Yeah, I'm
My
trying. I got to
point
put a
would
kid to bed
be,
anyway, so let's go.
okay, I'll be quick. And the example of the authority of God, right? It ultimately stems back to all authorities derived on God, right? Every authority is acting on behalf of God, just like Yuri as an officer represents a greater authoritarian force, right? He's not a man acting unto himself as a vigilante. With God's justice, would you agree that God's justice, right, as a just judge, is predicated, right? His ability to execute his justice is predicated on his objective truth, right? He's objectively exhibiting what's true, but he's also has omnipotency.
Well, I can agree to all of that, but you're not going to like the entailment. The entailment there is that the authority is bound in the nature of God.
I don't
In the
necessarily
ability,
disagree that it's bound in the nature. I'm just
fantastic,
pointing out specifically
fantastic.
what's in the nature.
So, but prior to creation, did God have authority? I hope you say obviously yes.
I want to. I mean, I'm thinking about the question, right? I wouldn't outright say like God has somehow lost authority, but it's like authority over
Well,
what?
no. He couldn't have lost it because he would have to gain it upon creation. So when he said, "Let there be light," he has commanded something and it obeyed. Thus,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
so
at
did he
that
have that
point, he's
authority?
gained a
Did he
well.
have the authority prior to
I'm just
force
trying to
or
make
no?
sense. I know what you're saying. I'm just trying to make sense of the question. Say, if nothing else exists, then what is the authority? Like, I get your
Well,
point,
no
right? You're
force
saying
is being
ultimately
applied.
God can dictate
No
what comes
force is
into
being applied,
existence.
right? You would agree. No force has been applied yet. So does he gain authority only when force has been applied?
I'd say it's just actualized authority. It's about word usage. I'm not saying
Ooh.
that God doesn't have authority. Like, I know what you're saying. This gets into a semantic word game at this point. I'm just
Yeah,
simply
no, it's not
saying,
semantics. It's absolutely not semantics. So it is either the case that God has authority within his nature, or he doesn't. And if he doesn't have it in his nature, it's bound in something else. And Pedro's entire point is that it is force, or the ability to apply force to reach the outcome that you desire.
yes, when God has authority, right? I'm trying to think of how to verbalize this kind of thought because this is not one
At
to one
odds with
with
each
like
other.
creations. Sorry,
Well,
what?
but those two things are going to be at odds with each other. So if it's the case that it is in the nature, then he has it with or without creation. But if it is the case that it's bound within the ability to apply force or to get agreement to your authority, submission to your authority, then that necessarily requires creation. And so you have something other than the Christian God.
When you say nature, though, I'm just saying these desires or at their not desires, but these attributes are rooted in the nature. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with saying it's in the nature. I'm just pointing specifically to what
Oh.
in the nature.
Well, so I'm not gonna. So that just makes like a Lego god if I say that um, within the nature there's a like whatness that gives the force ability. And so that's just going to be absent. That's why I said if it requires force, then it would require creation, and then you have something other than the Christian God.
Well, and I don't know if Pedro like made this perfectly clear because Pedro was kind of flailing there. I'll admit he was just acting irrational.
What
Saying
happens when
like
I drop bombs, bro?
it's one thing to say like having to exert authority or exert force versus the potency to do so, right? One could willfully comply with that authority without without the necessity of exerting it.
So,
So there's a passive and an active authority, right?
well, I'm going to reject that. That's not the Christian God either.
No, plus I'm not jumping boat. I've had this conversation with Pedro. He's just not doing a good job articulating what he's trying to say.
That's fine. So if you say, Flash, and I'm not dealing with Pedro right now, I'm just dealing with you. If authority is in God part of his nature, then it doesn't require his ability to apply force.
No, he
But if
does
you're
not have to actualize force. That is correct.
then what's this entire debate? You've just conceded
I'm
to
saying
my
that
view.
the power
And plus his
that,
view.
that God has in his omnipotency, right, is a potency in order to exact or carry it out. Now, when you're talking about creation,
let's-
right, you have things that are personal and non-personal. This is not like a one-to-one with like
Well,
earthly authorities.
Let's go back to the police officer for a second. The state
Okay.
grants, or the city, wherever the police officer, I'm just going to use state because it's just easier. If the
Crim cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lagged.
Oh dang.
Sorry, he'll be back in a second.
Crim's back. What happened? What's up?
It's
man?
fine. And I got like 1 minute when he gets back. I got to get my kid to bed. Dude, come on. That's not a
That's
run.
fine,
I
Flash.
literally have to get my
Can
kid
you
to
answer
bed.
the question real quick? If the cop
Okay,
just
yeah,
sits at
I'll
the desk and he's
answer.
been granted authority by the state, does he have authority absent of force? He just kicks his feet up on the desk the entire time?
Can you
Does he
start
have
over?
authority?
Because you did cut out. I did not hear the whole
I
thing. Could you
apologize. I
restart?
apologize. I'm going to make it really quick because we both have kids that need to go to bed. The state has granted a police officer authority to make arrests, write tickets, whatever. But all he does is drink coffee and chill in the driver's seat of his car, maybe catches some Z's. He hasn't. Does he have authority?
Yes. He has
Okay.
authority. Let me just say this real quick, right? I think you'll agree with my statement. He has authority. His authority is derived from a greater authority. And the authority
Right.
that he has is that he still, even though he's not actively exhibiting his authority through force, he still has the ability to carry out force, and he represents a greater force. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, no. See, now you keep trying to use interchangeably with authority. So he's received his authority through a higher authority, not
Yes.
a higher force. A force and authority are not synonymous here. Like if you try to interject that, I'm not going to grant it. Like you'll have to make an argument for that. But everything you've done so far is conceded that point for my point, which is authority is in the nature of something. So by nature, by nature of him being granted as a police officer, he's received that authority as a police officer. He doesn't have to apply any force at all, but he still has authority. Or the force equaling authority is defeated.
Yeah, exhibiting force was never like, and you haven't been here the entire time we've done this, right? So I'm
Well,
not
I
gonna hold it
listened
against
to the YouTube and I listened to Pedro. Pedro
Oh,
said force
well.
equals authority. You've agreed with that. You kind of changed your position on that a little bit. And so now authority doesn't require force or the enacting of force. It is just there. So why is it there? Is it there because the police officer has been granted that authority, or is it there because God it's part of his nature to have authority? Like within who he is that he has authority?
Yeah, I've tried to reform Pedro's like explanation
sir.
because I look, I'm doing this stick with Pedro because it's fun. but I've tried to reform the way that he frames it because
giga cope, bro. Like I'm
This
not
is
even, I don't even care
crazy
about you,
cope.
but that's crazy cope, man.
And I'm
Just
recording right
backstab
now. The
me.
best part is I'm
wait,
recording right
why is
now.
it
This is
cope? I'm being
great.
honest
Giga
right
cope,
now.
bro.
This is great.
Wait, so Flash changed his position?
No, I didn't
He's
change my position.
jumping
I'm
boat,
literally
bro.
stating
He's
what I've
talking about,
said the
oh, I
entire
just do
time.
this for fun.
No, like, dude, let me just finish the thought here. I'm saying what Pedro is saying, right? If he says it equals force, that has never
He
been
did.
what I've said. That is not what I said.
Oh,
I
this
say
is
it's
great.
Really?
predicated on the ability to exert force. And that's different than saying it's equal to force.
Oh, man. Wow. We just watched the authority boat get hit and hit again, and
This
it
is
just
crazy. Let's
sank.
get Pedro back in here.
This is
So God only
rough.
has authority to create because he has the ability to say, "Let there be light."
I'm trying to make sense of the statement. Like, when God creates light, it's because he has the power to do so.
Right. So prior to doing that, he doesn't really have authority.
I
It
don't want to
requires
say
him
no.
to enact that force.
I don't want to say no, but like, what do you mean authority in that sense if there's no creation?
Force.
So if there's, what do I mean? Again, dude, you keep flipping back and forth. You say, what is authority if there's no enactment of force? So you've now equivocated authority and force again.
No.
And so
I'm
you've
saying
Yeah.
that's not what I mean. I'm saying if there's no creation, that there's authority over. Okay, there's only the Trinity in existence. Right? In what sense are you saying that there's authority? Now, I'm not arguing and saying it's false. I'm just asking, like, what do you mean then?
So in this, I would say that there is nothing that can cause God not to create.
No,
He
I
has the ability
agree.
to and
I agree.
the
Like, there's
authority
nothing
to
wrong with that statement.
because he is God. And that is a statement saying that because of his nature, he has authority. So I'm binding authority to the nature, even absent of force.
Yeah, and all I'm not
Yeah.
going to say we because I'm not going to say it on behalf of Pedro, but I've explained to
Flash.
Pedro. I say that the omnipotency is an attribute rooted in the nature. I'm not disagreeing with
Flash.
yeah, go ahead, Ian.
What 5-pointer said in the side chat. I just didn't know if you saw that or not. I just wanted to make sure you saw
They
that.
want you to
Okay,
unmute.
yeah, that's fine. He was just interrupting when
I just wanted to make sure that like you saw that and addressed that.
Oh no, yeah.
wrong.
I mean, if
Cool, let's
one of
get some
the
kids to bed. I'll be back a
mods
little bit later, maybe possibly. I might hang
yeah,
out.
I mean, if
Well, it's because we don't.
pointer,
Well,
yeah,
it's because we don't touch each other's mutes, and so he's talking to you about
no,
it to
that's all
ask you
good.
if
But
you're legit.
if one of the OGs of the room wants to overturn my mute, it's not going to hurt my feelings.
I just saw authority.
I just wanted to make sure. Y'all continue. I just wanted to make sure. Go ahead,
This
guys.
is great.
I mean, there's nothing that Krem just said that like I disagree, but Pedro framed it differently than what I'm saying at the moment. But Pedro was spurging out like he was not doing a good job.
Yeah,
Right?
so I mean, Flash, like, let's summarize this then. Absent of force, pre-creation, does God still maintain authority?
He maintains. See, this is so weird to say authority in that sense.
And Flash, I need you to go in your heart and examine this for a second. As a Christian who professes the Lord Jesus Christ as God, who has all authority in heaven and on earth, the fact that this is hard for you to say should say something to you deeply right now.
No, you guys have dissected
You are on the
those
wrong
words
side of the
so
boat,
I have
bro.
no problem with like if you're just trying to say that God is
So then say
sovereign over
it. Does
all
he
things,
does he maintain authority pre-creation? Just say it then.
in the way
If
in
you
the
have
way
no
that
problem
you're
saying
trying
it.
to convey, I have no problem, and I say yes. Okay.
There it is.
But I'm
GG boys.
I'm trying to be technical in this question.
Look, it's over. Like literally, it's done. Flash. That has been my entire argument this entire time. God maintains his authority absent of force, meaning that his authority is not predicated on his ability to force. It is
Okay,
predicated
that's
on his nature.
There's many types of authority. Though.
It's
that is
over.
consistent.
It's over.
That is consistent. That is consistent with Pedro's definition. It's the potency or ability to enforce covenants. So God, whether He created or not, has that ability.
Right.
He has
Yeah.
the authority.
Right.
That's fine.
And that's
plus,
that's also fine. I don't have a
plus.
problem with that.
Yeah,
sorry,
last question, plus, and
God
then
is
I do
pure
have to
act.
go.
I'm
I do
sorry,
have to
it's
go.
no
Plus,
potency
have
in
you heard
God.
me
Sorry.
say though that the omnipotency is
Definition,
tied
so
into the
they
nature?
can use
I said
force
that.
by authority.
Yes, I've heard you say that. Yes.
Right. So I'm just pointing towards specific attributes, not saying like building a Lego God. It's a hypothetical, like if you were to strip this attribute, but we know that it's not stripped.
Well, the thing is, Pedro is building a Lego God because he's saying that God's authority is actually based on his ability to like force creation, right? And this is why Pedro will avoid this question. The question I asked you, he will run from it, right? Because he actually does think like, hey, if a being somehow has the ability to impose more force, oh, now they automatically gain authority.
All right. I keep saying I'm going to put my
It's
kid to
over.
bed. But she keeps running around.
I need to as well. So
Yeah.
I'll be back tomorrow.
GG.
I'd rather have a solo scriptura debate with Pedro. This debate goes over his head when he gets into
Yeah.
like the potency or pure act thing. He's gonna have problems.
Yep, it's over. So, Krim, I don't know
All
if
right, I
you
got
know.
a question. Is
Oh,
God love?
go ahead.
But good to have you back, Krim. Haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Is God love?
See.
Yes, the being the witness is love.
All right, is love force?
Yes.
Oh, no.
They define force.
Yeah, it is.
Like a fatalistic force? No.
Yeah, it is.
Let me give you the lifeboat. Hypatia. Wayfinder would say love is strength.
Yeah, you can define these things. Like there's a self-authority I was saying, or there's evil authorities that do have force, which is related to
Yeah, you
authority.
can't have love without forced love.
You have a self-free will authority, right? You have authority to masturbate tonight because you have authority over your body.
Just said that rape is love.
Man.
Why did we have to make it that?
Well, I'm just saying all
is,
these
though.
definitions Pedro gave, he misused the courtroom. And he got a lot of stuff wrong. But you can use authority differently. Depends what you're talking about. God is going to different from humans.
I'm saying using authority differently still entails that you have authority, dum-dum.
I know we all have authority.
No, we don't, you dork.
Okay, do you have authority to kill yourself?
You have the ability to. That doesn't mean you have the authority to.
Okay, so you reject free will now. That's cool. You're a fatalist.
No, dum-dum.
You guys are
Yeah,
joking.
dum
No,
dum.
dum-dum. Who has the authority over
Are
life?
you younger than Pedro?
So according to Pedro's definition, it's to enforce covenants. You do have power to break covenants, but I wouldn't call that authority.
not-
I'd call that rebellion. I'd call that rebellion against authority. You have that ability, but that's
You
a
have
different
the ability,
authority.
right? Self-authority, it's called.
No, you're just equivocating
Yeah, you
power
do.
and authority.
It's called that. You don't have authority over your body. Who does?
God.
So God controls you to sin.
Well,
no, dude, you have the ability to. You're equivocating terms. Like, you guys are just fallacy factories.
Okay, so that self-authority has nothing to do with free will. Authority over the body.
It's the ability to enforce covenant.
Okay, do you have authority over your body to block your face from a punch or hit someone?
What is that? You're equivocating terms. What is this thing that you just said? Self-authority. And the ability to block a punch doesn't mean that you somehow have authority to block the punch. This is dumb.
So who has authority over your will?
God.
Oh, so the body has no control over itself.
Who said that? I've maintained
you
the
just said
idea.
God.
I've maintained the position. Yes, God is the ultimate authority. So I have the ability to disobey God.
Yeah, thank you. You have
That doesn't
bodily
mean-
authority. You have authority over your body to
No,
make
you're
choices.
just equivocating terms.
Yeah,
No,
you
I have
can
free
move.
will.
The
I can act.
soul has the self-determined will to move towards evil or good. That's the whole thing with free will. If you don't have autonomy over the soul or body, that's fatalism.
Dude,
So Plato
So,
critiques us.
so
From authority
if
to
you make the
autonomy, the
statement,
autonomy is
if you
getting
make the
closer.
statement that I have the authority to disobey God, now I'm rejecting God's authority. So now I'm somehow a higher authority than God.
No, there's different ways to define it. Now you're going to higher and
See
lower.
now,
Obviously,
you
yeah.
just admitted that you're equivocating because you're like, if I
No,
have
it's
to
not
define
it's a
authority
category.
differently,
It's a different category, right? God, we
it's
can't relate God to
equivocation. It's an
creation.
equivocation,
Okay,
dude.
is authority in the world that's not God?
Well, as Scripture says, that the authority in the world He has appointed. So
So you take like
He grants
famous.
authority. No,
What's
He
just
grants
authority? For
authority.
someone that cannot follow this
So
conversation,
He
what the heck
gave.
is authority?
Didn't
He
this
gave.
start
Oh
with
my God.
Pedro trying to
So
So he set
argue
up
let's
that
go
the
back.
kingdoms
Let's
and
go
he
back
Orthodox
to
Church has
scattered
Adam.
no
people because
authority
they
and the
Adam.
Baptist Church does? Isn't that the origin of his kind of trail of all this?
Ian, I didn't hear what you said. I was in the middle of speaking when you started. I didn't hear that. What's up?
I was saying, I think the origin of all this authority talk from Pedro is him saying the Baptist churches have authority and the Orthodox churches don't. I think that's where it
Yeah, it's a
started.
subversion of the Orthodox Church's authority, right? It's him
Interesting.
saying,
Interesting.
yeah,
How does
that's
that?
where he
Here,
started. Yeah.
Ian, I'll just defeat that real quick, and I wish Pedro was here. So
Yeah.
the Baptist Church has authority because they can kick me out of their church, but I can go down the street to another Baptist church and receive their wafer and grape juice. But in the
Yeah.
Orthodox Church,
Hey, gluten-free
they
wafers, all right?
they can excommunicate me, and the
Yeah.
priest doesn't have to administer the sacraments. So they have the authority over those sacraments, right? Because God has granted them the authority to administer the sacraments. And if I go
If you
down
could,
the street and I'm not honest with a priest there, and there's no communication between my priest and that priest, then sure, receive the sacraments, but I'm just doing detriment to myself.
if
No.
you get kicked out
Yeah.
of the
You
Ukrainian
don't
Orthodox
understand this has been
Church,
going
if you
on.
get kicked out of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, can you walk down the road to a Russian Orthodox Church and be received?
They don't exist. What are you talking about?
You don't think there's a Ukrainian Orthodox Church and a Russian Orthodox Church?
Well, there is definitely a Russian Orthodox Church.
Okay,
Well, it's
what
not.
is the Ukrainian? What is the group that's calling itself Ukrainian
Wasn't it
Orthodox?
acknowledged by the Greek church that it was a
Just
separate
some.
church in Russia? That makes no sense. It's acknowledged by patriarchs that it's separate church from Russia. Like, you know, you can deny Ukrainian right.
It's a schism.
Yeah. You guys
Well,
don't
yeah,
want to
not.
do this with Krim.
It's a political
It's
schism
not.
for sure. It's not like a communion schism at all. It's not detrimental as people portray it, but it's still like
No,
it's
you're
still
so
further than.
confused. You're so
You're in
confused.
a cult.
You're so confused.
I'm in a
Well,
cult. You're
can you
different
kind of
coach.
explain to me
You have
the
no saying. You have no continuity with history. You're a sectarian.
yeah
You
yeah
are in
so
a
Krim,
cult.
can you kind of help me understand
Mm-hmm.
in the Orthodox Church how you guys govern like globally the Orthodox Church, like what does that
Through
stuff look like?
jurisdiction. Through jurisdiction. So, like the Russian Orthodox Church doesn't have administrative powers over Greece or over the Church in America. Powers over, I think they still are. Yeah, Rokor. So, but that would be because the Rokor is like the daughter church of the Russian Orthodox Church. So there's going to be some administrative abilities there. But globally, it's broken up through jurisdictions that are headed by bishops. So the same way that Christ established the church, the apostles who went out and planted churches, and they were over those churches, and then they had successors who were over those churches. They didn't feel the Pope decided he was like supreme and he thought that he had global power. It's just never how the church has functioned. So it functions in jurisdictions.
I see.
There you go.